Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose, and it's another day and another leak for the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, it really is just such a bizarre situation by this point, because everybody is revealing the Switch 2 except for Nintendo. Now, don't worry about them, though, because they'll eventually get to it. But we are going to talk about the latest leak, which gives us a glimpse into what exactly they're planning. Now, we also have a big Xbox story to talk about today because Nintendo might not be the only console manufacturer to have a handheld in 2025. Xbox has some very interesting plans and maybe even sooner than expected. So we have a fun day of news here, so let's just go and get right into things, starting off with PlayStation and their newly announced Midnight Black Collection. Now this includes their DualSense controller, their Elite controller, both of their first-party headsets, PS5 cover plates, and in my opinion, the most exciting in the bunch being the PlayStation Portal. This is now the third variant for the Portal, and it looks really sleek and sharp. Now, with that said, I mean, if you already have a Portal, there's not exactly much of a reason to buy into a second one, but if anything else here, if you've been on the fence and if you just really like this Midnight Black option, well, then pre-orders will go live on January 16th. To my understanding, these are not limited edition items, so you shouldn't have to worry all that much about them selling out, but I will say this much. One thing that stands out about this announcement for, I'd say, all of the wrong reasons is that for whatever reason, Sony made this collection pretty much for every PS5 device except for the PlayStation 5 Pro. I find that to be a little bit strange, but I mean, I guess it is what it is. Now, one of the most exciting announcements that I'm expecting to hear about relatively soon is the Oblivion Remake. My guess is that it'll either get announced at the Xbox Developer Direct, which will likely be this month, or it'll instead get announced at Xbox's Summer Showcase. Either which way, though, I mean, there's already a lot of evidence that this game does exist and that it'll release sometime in 2025. Well, now we can add just a little bit more information here because it was spotted that a Virtuous employee had this listed on their LinkedIn account. You can see here where they listed the projects that they worked on, and it says XCOM 2, the Callisto Protocol, the Dark Pictures Anthology games, and then they have an unannounced Unreal Engine 5, PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC remake. Now, there's not necessarily a guarantee that this is referring to an Oblivion remake. There is a chance that this could be for something completely different, but it's been long rumored that Virtuous is the studio behind its development. This dates all the way back to 2023 when a former Virtuous employee leaked its development onto Reddit. This person apparently was vetted by a mod and everything, so I mean, you can kind of take all this as you will, but I think the most interesting part about this new information is that if it is an Oblivion remake, it does list the PS5 as a destination. Now, you have to remember that Microsoft now owns Bethesda, but personally, if this is true, again, I don't think that this is necessarily overly surprising, just because Oblivion would fall under the Legacy title, and, Xbox has been pretty consistent with that from the very beginning. Those games tend to be multi-platform more often than not, and then, of course, they release them onto Xbox Game Pass day one as well. That right there is the true benefit for Xbox gamers. Either way, I think this could potentially be one of the most exciting games for 2025 if it actually releases this year. I mean, if you haven't already played the original, I mean, it was just such an amazing game, and I'm curious to see how much effort they put into this remake. I mean, I'm assuming a lot with it allegedly being an Unreal Engine 5 game, but one thing about this remake is that Skyrim really catapulted this series to the next level in terms of popularity. So there's a very good chance that a lot more people will soon see exactly why Oblivion is just as beloved among longtime Elder Scrolls fans. Both of these games are all-time great RPGs, and fans are soon going to see exactly why. Now, speaking of Xbox, if you've been listening to this channel, something that we've discussed at great length is the idea that the next Xbox is going to be drastically different. It's not just going to be yet another console. From the sounds of it, it actually sounds like their plans seems to align much more with Valve than it does with PlayStation. Right now, Valve is in the process of launching SteamOS for third-party devices. In fact, they just announced a partnership with Lenovo at CES. They're going to launch a SteamOS Legion Go S variant later this year. Well, it now sounds like Microsoft is going to do the same exact thing with Windows and Xbox. Now, previously, this was just a rumor and speculation, but that's no longer the case anymore. This is now 100% confirmed. This comes from Jason Ronald, Microsoft's vice president on Next Generation, and he told The Verge that we should expect to see the Windows handheld gaming experience change within the calendar year. You can see the full statement here, which reads, "When we caught up with Jason after the event, he confirmed that Microsoft is looking at combining Xbox and Windows experiences together, and that we should see changes this very year rather than needing to wait for an Xbox handheld that might still be years away. I would say it's bringing the best of Xbox and Windows together because we have spent the last 20 years building a world-class operating system, but it's really locked to the console. What we're doing is we're really focused on how do we bring those experiences for both players and developers to the broader Windows ecosystem." And right there it is. This is exactly what we've been talking about time and time again. He very specifically mentioned the Xbox operating system. I mean, that right there seems to be their master plan going forward. Instead of making a brand new console and a brand new handheld that only they can make, instead it seems what they're trying to do here is they want to bring the Xbox OS to Windows and license it out, similar to what Valve is doing right this very moment with SteamOS. And that would give Xbox a very unique platform. I mean, there's always been theories that they would eventually combine the two together, and as long as they can execute it in a proper way, I mean, that part's important, but if they can, this could be an actual enticing option that has some clear advantages over just your typical console. This would theoretically be a PC wrapped into a console-like experience, and the advantage that gives them is compatibility. They would suddenly have the most compatible console in the entire market. It'd be able to play Xbox games, hopefully backwards compatible games as well. It could play Game Pass games, all PC games, including Steam games. Emulation would be a thing, and even PlayStation games would be available on this new Xbox because, PlayStation releases their games onto Steam as well. So, yeah, this would be a very versatile option. And because they plan to license the Xbox OS out to third-party companies, or at least that's from what we've heard, that would also mean that there would be no more generations. There would just be different price points. Let's say if you want Xbox's first-party option, that might cost you, let's say, $500. Okay, you can absolutely go do that. But if you want Lenovo's maybe super powerful option, well, that might cost you $1,000. It would be up to the customer to decide how much power they want in their next Xbox console. But by all indication, this seems to be the end game for Xbox. They want to blur the line of what a PC is and what a console is. This also includes handhelds, which is what brought this revelation to light in the first place. And I think that's one of the really exciting things that he revealed. They might still be a little ways away, but there is a change on the horizon, and according to him, we're going to see some of that change in 2025. Third-party Xbox handheld options might soon be on the market. Let me know what you all think about all this, though. Do you like this idea for Xbox or no? Give me your reason why in the comments below. Now, we also got yet another look at the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, come on. This honestly might be the most leaked console of all time by this point. Truthfully, I've never seen something like this before. But these third-party accessory makers, they just simply don't care. They are revealing absolutely everything that they can, and apparently Genki, which is a well-known accessory brand, gave us a great look at the Switch 2. You can actually go over to their website right now, where they have a video up and everything. What's more is that they've been showing off a 3D model, which kind of shows you how the Switch 2 works. They snap the Joy-Con in and out, as you can see here. You can see the button on the back, which is in fact a latch that disconnects the Joy-Cons from their rails. Personally, I think this looks much more seamless than the current Switch and how it slides into place. I personally like the magnetic approach much more, but again, you can see the size difference between the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. The Switch 2 is just so much bigger with its 8-inch display. That will make those AAA games stand out just that much more, considering AAA games tends to be a little bit more designed around the big screen. once again, though, we are seeing that C button. We still have no idea what this C button is for. There's theories that it could be for cast, it could be for capture, or maybe it's even related to achievements. I'm not so sure about that, but personally, I am hoping that they add achievements this time around. But that right now is probably the biggest mystery for the Switch 2 as it stands. I mean, everything else just seems to be leaking out, and that's the thing. Everybody's looking at these leaks right now, and we're all just kind of wondering the same thing. When's Nintendo going to reveal it themselves? You would think that they would want to control the narrative rather than these third-party companies, but based on what we're hearing, they don't really care. They're going to stick with their plan, and this isn't going to sway them. So, yeah, it kind of seems like we still need to remain patient, but that takes us to the poll of the day. Yeah, that's right. The poll of the day is back, and I asked you all, when do you think Nintendo will officially reveal the Switch 2? And as you can see, most of you actually voted for March. Now, I'm a little surprised by that. I'm honestly expecting January or February at the very latest. I mean, we're hearing that its release date could potentially be in April, so if that's true, then that would only give them a few months, and I just don't think they're going to wait for March and then have pre-orders go up for like 1 month only. Now, that's just my opinion, and I'm kind of basing it off of different rumors, but there you go. The majority of you are expecting a March reveal. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode, but until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.